Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday. My name is Julie, and you have found me here on my YouTube channel, Stamp with Julie Baum. I am bringing you another fast and easy card to make, and this one is very bright and summery. It is midsummer, it's hot here in Southern California, and we're going to do something very cute with these beautiful papers, these bright, cheery colors. And also, I will let you know that we are making somewhat of a fun fold. We are making a card with a belly band. So let's jump in and talk about what we need to make this card. The paper that I'm using is called Beautiful Ordinary Life. And I've given you a sample here of some of the prints. They, to me, are just very cheery and bright and beautiful. Now, the flip side of the prints are black and white, which I think that's interesting for two reasons. One is maybe there's a print that you're not sure how you would use it. This one to me is a little bit more challenging, but I know that I can use a black and white for many, many different projects. So it gives you the option of the colorful fronts or the variety of black and white prints on the back. We are going to be using some of each on our card today. To begin with, I have a lemon lolly piece of cardstock. This piece is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Now, if you have been making cards for a while, you will recognize that's a very basic, very common size to begin with for your card base. But today we're not folding it down the middle. Often we would make a score line at 4.25 inches and we would fold the card in half. Today, instead, I've made a score mark at 2 inches and a score at 6 inches. You'll see when I fold those flaps and reinforce the folds with my bone folder that I now am going to end up with two flaps on the front of the card, one a little bit more narrow and one a little bit wider. There's our card base. All right, now I've got a couple pieces of white cardstock. This is just our basic white cardstock, the regular weight. This piece is 3.75 inches by 5.25 inches. Then I have a piece that's 2.25 by 5.25. And my last piece is 1.75 inches by 5.25. So those are pieces that are going to get attached to the card. Now you'll also want one scrap because we're going to be doing some die cutting. So you'll want one other white scrap. All right, let's talk about our designer series paper. You can see I've chosen some cute prints and the sizes. This piece is 2 inches by 5 inches, and I will be using this side of the paper. Then on this cute stripe, this is 1.5 inches by 5 inches. Then I have a piece that's very long. This is 9.5 inches by 1 inch. And I am going to use it on the polka dot, the black and white polka dot side. So this piece is for the belly band. Now, I'm making my belly band out of designer series paper, but if you want this piece to be done out of cardstock, you can. So you could either use another piece of lemon lolly that is 9.5 inches by 1 inch, or you could pick another color out that is represented in the paper, perhaps Lost Lagoon or Flirty Flamingo. So that is up to you, but I'm going to make my belly band out of the designer series paper. Then I have a small piece. I'm going to use that same print. This piece is 3/8 of an inch by 5 inches. This is simply to decorate the inside panel of the card so that it's not plain and boring. All right, you'll need one scrap of black cardstock if you're copying my design. And with that scrap of black and the scrap of white that we discussed, you're going to do your die cutting. Now, I've done this ahead of time, and I used two dies from Nested Essentials. You can see they're missing from my pack right here because I've pulled them out. So one is a little bit larger of the rounded rectangle, and one is the next size down, and I did that out of my white cardstock. Those are my die cuts. If you don't have these die cuts or you want to change it up, you could certainly use either two nesting punches so that you have a background and a white piece, or you could simply just use one piece that you die cut and or punch. So you don't have to layer them. I like the layered look. All right, let's put our card together. The first thing that I'm going to do, since I've got my largest piece of white cardstock here, is go ahead and put that tiny strip on. This is going to be the decorative strip for the inside of the card. My strip is extra long. If you have been watching me, you know that that is something that I typically do. If I'm going to put a strip all the way across a piece of paper, I make it extra long, stick it on, and then trim the sides off. The only thing this helps with is not having to have an exact clean measurement side to side without any gaps or extra borders accidentally showing. So I just think this is a fast and very effective way to do it. So I'm going to put my adhesive, and I'm using the multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to put my adhesive not all the way to the edges of my paper because it's extra long, so I don't need the glue on the very ends. And then I can flip this over and go ahead and lay it down. I'm going to leave a white border at the bottom. You don't have to. You could shove it all the way so it's flush with the bottom of the cardstock if you prefer. Lay that on there. It's very easy to do with your extra length. Any extra glue is going here on my silicone mat instead of on my tabletop or my grid paper if you're stamping on grid paper, and none of that glue will stick. So I can now take my scissors and just make 2 quick trims, and my strip that goes end to end is indeed perfectly measured. Okay, so now let's go back to our white pieces and our designer series paper, and we're going to attach those. So you're going to take your larger and your little bit smaller one and line up your papers so that you know which piece is going where. We're going to go ahead and attach those now. A little bit of glue goes a long way, and so please do not overuse, or you're going to have glue that squishes out the edges of the paper, and it can make your element really sticky, and that is unfortunate. Or if you use a lot of glue, then it can make your paper start to kind of warp and feel lumpy. So always remember that a little bit of glue goes a long way. You can see that I just put a teeny bit along my edges and maybe a squiggle or 2 down the middle, and that's it. All right, we've got our designer series paper lined up nicely on our white pieces with a white border all the way around. These 2 pieces are now ready to go on our card base. So I've got the wider section here on my left, and this piece is going to get attached right there. Centering it best I can, looking all the way around the 4 edges at that yellow border that I've left. And we're going to do the same thing with this piece. It's going to go here. And once again, centering, looking at all 4 edges of the lemon lolly, bordering my piece, and we are set. All right, let's do our stamping, and there isn't a lot of it to do today. We're basically just stamping our word stamp. So I've got that white cutout that I already prepared. I'm using Flirty Flamingo ink and the stamp that says Hello Sunshine. This is from a set of stamps called Splash and Relax. There are coordinating dies to this stamp set as well. I don't know about you, but if there are coordinating dies to a stamp set, I always get the two at the same time. When something is newly released, it's available as a bundle. So you get the stamps and the coordinating dies together at a 10% savings. As time goes on and those products continue to be made available, they may not be bundled. So you want to take advantage of the new products and get them while they're bundled so that you can save a little bit on your purchase. I'm going to take this piece now and back it with that black piece. I love these colors with that bold black. So I'm going to center my little white stamped tag onto the black rounded rectangle. Flip that over and give it a press. That way, if I have any glue or anything on my fingers, I'm not taking a chance of rubbing it on that white side. Okay, we're ready to build our belly band. I'm going to take that 9.5-inch long piece of paper, and we're not going to do any scoring. I think for a belly band, this is the best practice. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay your belly band. Now, I am going to have my band come up from the sides, meet at the top at the front on the top of the card, because that is going to get covered with this. All right. If you were to take your belly band and bring it around to the back and seal it, then you would see the edges that overlap and the area that you sealed it. So by doing it this way, you're going to hide that. So I will take the edge of my strip and pull it maybe about an inch over from this left side. Then I'm just going to fold it. Okay, so there's no measurement to score here. You're just going to hold it and fold it. Wrapping this around, and at this point you want to make sure that you aren't wrapping it super, super tight. If you pull this really tight, it's going to make it too snug for the band to be able to slide on and off the card. So you want it secure without being overly tight. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that, and then I'm going to just release a little bit of that tension and press in my fold. So this is the first step of doing your belly band measurement, and that is just wrapping it and folding it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure it, and then I'm going to test it one more time. Again, we want to make sure that the band slides freely, but isn't going to just slip off, and also is not so tight that it's difficult to get off. All right, for this part, I am going to just go ahead and use some tear and tape. You can continue on with your liquid glue if you'd like, but I'm going to put a couple small pieces of tear and tape right here where the band is going to overlap. Let's see, we started here. So this piece is coming over onto the top. All right, so I'll put my tape here and here. And then let's just review. I started with my strip, held it on the front of the card, bent and creased it, brought the other side up and around, also bent and creased it, and that is where my adhesive goes. Okay, I'm going to pull those backing pieces right off of my tear and tape. And then if you're working along with me, I suggest that you pause for just a moment, because what we're going to do is we're going to test this one more time before we seal it for good. So I'm going to fold my band right on its fold, and I'm going to bring this in, and I'm just going to tack it down. I'm not squeezing it to make that glue really, really adhere. Now I'm going to test it one more time on my card, making sure that I can slide it easily, which I can, but that it's not going to come off by itself, which is exactly what I want. So we've done it correctly. And now I can go ahead and really press down that tear and tape so that it is stuck tight to the band itself. All right, our belly band is done. We can take our inside panel and go ahead and add adhesive. We can tuck that inside the card at this point. I like that little black and white polka dot. I think it's very cute, especially against the yellow background. That looks very nice. And we will slide our belly band on there. This is a good time for you to see what I was talking about. So our seam is here and it's going to get covered instead of having the seam on the back where you can see it. All right, so here is my band. Slide it down so it's centered on the card. And the last thing we're going to do is attach our little Hello Sunshine right here to the front. Now you can see that my rectangle is taller than my band. So I want to be careful that I don't put adhesive at the very top nor the very bottom of this because that's going to stick it down. So you only want adhesive down the center, and we can do that with either our multi-purpose liquid glue or your tear and tape, whichever one you prefer. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my liquid glue right here, just in the middle, and line it up so that it looks nice and centered on the card. And that glue is only going to stick to the belly band. And I did not pull out some embellishments, but I think that I'm going to want some. So hold on for just a moment while I grab something fun to finish this with. So I have a bunch of embellishments, all kinds of things. And I just grabbed the whole bin. And I'm going to quickly look through here and find something. Ooh, I have lots of options. Something that looks okay. Let's take a peek at this. Party dots. Those, I don't know that they were designed exactly for these papers, but they do really kind of go with it. So that's what we're going to use. All right, this is in place. My belly band can slide. And let's just add, I think I'll just use some of these pool party colored ones. The yellow matches too. And the pink is not quite perfect. This is probably, let's see what color this is. Flirty Flamingo and Petal Pink. There's also Real Red and Timid Tiger in this paper. So I'm going to not use any of the pink ones. If you think that they look good, then you just go for it. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a yellow. And this maybe pool party color. Ooh, maybe we want it on here. Let's do it. Well, now that I've come this far with a yellow and a blue, I think I'm going to use the pink after all. Let's just use one of each. And if you want to trade out the pink one for another yellow or blue, I totally understand. But that is my look for today. Again, those were called party dots. And we have our fun fold with a belly band, fast and easy card. Inside is decorated, and the outside, you know what I like about the Hello Sunshine words is this could be for absolutely any occasion. You could turn this into a birthday card or an anniversary or a thank you. The Hello Sunshine is generic enough that it just says summer, and you can turn this into whatever occasion card that you want to. Thank you so much for watching today. It's been my total pleasure to bring this card to you, and I will see you next time. Happy stamping.